Okay, in the last video, you saw me set up some lighting and light stands. What I wanted to show is how some of these parts go together, especially with the flash and the trigger and the mount that then sits on top of the stand. And the way this works, you have a trigger, and then on your camera, you also have another trigger. The way I keep mine so I know what's what is I put the hot shoe cover that was on my camera on the one that I tend to use as my on-camera trigger. They do have to be turned on in order to work. They use AA batteries in most cases, or AAAs, sorry. And most of the time I have started switching over to rechargeable batteries, because in the long run that is the cheapest way to go, and especially with these flashes, these big powerful flashes. I noticed that with regular alkaline batteries I was only getting about one shoot in before the batteries died, so that gets quite pricey. And by a shoot I mean like 50 to 100 to 150 strobe is about as much as you're going to get. So I've completely switched over to using this. These use AA's, and I use only rechargeables. And I got a recharger that charges 8 batteries at a time, and in that way I can also have a full set of batteries in my 2 strobes, as well as a full set in the charger if need be. So I should always have charged up batteries. Now, the easiest way to do this is to mount your trigger onto the light stand mount first. You want your flash to face the direction that the umbrella is going to be inserted. You should insert your umbrellas through this side that has the little tension holder, which is this metal piece which actually goes down inside of the hole where the umbrella goes in. So that is, you want your flash facing that way. And on these triggers, you mount the flash pointing towards the front. So I want the front of this, which is this big area with a big button on it, to be on the front, towards the front of the stand. There's a little loosening knob here, and then this just slides up in there. You make sure that it's underneath the 2 grabbers here. And once it's in place, yeah, make a liar out of me. Come on. You can start tightening down this knob here, which clamps down this loose piece that's on the side against this fixed side. So that puts this in place, and it's facing the front. Then the strobe goes on next, and you can tighten it down. Now with most of these, what I've noticed is a strange issue that when the flash or strobe is mounted to the trigger, you can't turn the trigger on and off. It just seems like a really stupid design, because here's the on-off switch right here, and when it's on, this little light goes on, and then you have to slide this strobe back into place. Yeah, come on. And I've tried mounting it the other direction just out of curiosity, and it's not a correct fit. So that's how that goes. The next piece you would do is you would just insert your umbrella here. There is a tighten knob here as well, so you want to make sure that's not in the way when you go to insert your umbrella or your reflector. Let's see what I got here. So let me pull this out. What I've got here, this is a reflector. It's dark on the outside and silvery on the inside. So I extend that just like a regular umbrella, and now I get that in the way of the light source that's in here. And you can see it just goes in this little hole here. And it does take some force to get it to go in, and I actually think there we go. got it to go in. And it did take a bit of forcing, and I usually only take it through the back side here. This is the post, out a little bit like so. That's adjustable if you feel like you need to get the strobe closer or further from the inside of the reflector or the diffuser, whichever you're using. And then what I'm doing here on the other side, you can't see, but there's a tighten knob there to tighten down on this post to keep it from sliding around, because a lot of times your equipment is like pointing in an upward position or off to the side or at a 45-degree angle, so you don't want them slipping around. So that's it for that piece. You set that guy aside. Now the next thing I want to talk about is tripods. Now this particular tripod is fairly inexpensive. It's a Ravelli. It came with a ball head, but I switched it for another ball head. It's a little bigger, it's a little heavier duty, and it has a much nicer quick release. The reason I really like this quick release is when you've got this on the camera and you just snug it up in there and then you push down, it just locks into place. It's just a snap-in lock. It's really nice. This also has a level on it. And then to release, it's spring-loaded, so you just pull it back and it releases your camera. So I love this spring-release ball head. The other reason I really like ball head over panning head is because you have total freedom of movement. So if you can't get an exactly level surface, or if you need to actually have your camera slightly off level for some reason, you can do it. So, and all ball heads have on the side somewhere some notch that allows the post to come down in it so that you can do portrait or landscape style photography. So this is portrait mode, and then landscape is when it's up top, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to mention that. Some people don't like this one because instead of the quick release type legs, it has twisty legs. But I actually, for some reason, and this is probably just a personal preference, I prefer having that style of locking mechanism on my legs. It just seems more heavy duty to me, even though it probably isn't that big a deal. So I just wanted to mention that about tripods. Now, let's see. The next thing I wanted to talk about, so you can see I'm sitting over here at the table that we just set up with my backdrop draped across the table. And another secret to working with things like that, if you have a tabletop like this, normally I will put my front two legs of the tripod up on to the table with the third leg going back and either resting on a chair, or because it usually will not reach all the way to the floor, so you have to bring a chair over to put that third leg on. And I don't have it set up like that right now, but I'm going to do that, and I'll come back in my next video to show you some tricks on doing tabletop video. And this also works for photography and macro photography quite nicely, just to set up your workspace. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful.